Ron asked me to come up here and speak to you, and I don't know why. I am not a pastor. I am not an elder. I deliver Malcolm's water, our pastor, on Sunday morning. I'm the cupbearer for Malcolm, I guess you could say. The last time I taught, it was 3 and 4 year olds in a Sunday school. So I was getting pretty comfortable with that. So if you would cooperate with me and all sit on the rug in front of me and cross your legs, I would feel a lot better about that. And even that was a disaster until my sweet wife decided to marry me, and it went a whole lot better. But in any case, who am I? Well, I'm a Jewish carpenter. That's what I am. That's what you got up here. I born from a Jewish mother and a Gentile father, and been doing carpentry work from high school on, and actually before high school. And so I like what I do. In fact, I love what I do. It seems the older I get, the more I enjoy it. And maybe it's because you figure you can't do it forever. But I have been, and it's what's so gratifying for me is having a vision, having a plan, taking raw materials, making it into something. And for me, the other thing, maybe this is an odd thing, but I take pride that my trade and my carpentry, I look at the Lord and what profession did he decide to be before he went full-time ministry? He became a carpenter. And I thought, that's cool. He had a Jewish mother, and so did I. So we have something in common. And when he got through and went into full-time ministry, I'm sure he looks back on some of that, the skill of working with things and materials. And being from a trade, a building trade, God worked with people like I work with material. They're raw material. They come into this world a blank slate. He molded them. It says here in Jeremiah 1:5, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And so he had a plan and a purpose for each of us, and he molded us. And after he got all through with his prized possessions, if you can say that we're prized possessions, he let us go to make up our own mind on the rest of our lives. And if you have children, that would give you a sense of raising them and then hoping they walk in the way you've taught them. And then there comes a point in time when we have to make a decision. And some of us do, and some of us don't, unfortunately. And so I'm thankful that after a lot of trials, I surrendered to the Lord. It was a very different experience for me. Everybody has their story, and I resisted for a long time. And the men that witnessed to me, frankly, I blew them off. And for whatever reason, after blowing them off, I went home and started searching my house because I knew there was a Bible in there somewhere. And I found the Bible that I had in the house. It was a terrible edition of the Bible. It wasn't a good, what I would recommend. But I started reading that, and the words, I had no guidance on what to read or what to do. So I know a lot of people say start with John and go. Well, it's a book. I started page 1, Genesis 1:1. Okay, and I thought, well, that's where you start in a book. And but it became so real and so inspiring to me that I'm going. It just changed me, laying in my bed reading this book. And I couldn't get enough of it. And I'm not a reader. I'm a carpenter. I'll read a blueprint. I'll read a few little things. But I'm not one to sit down and read books. I faked most of my book reports at school. And so that's the way I got through life. But I made it out of school barely. And I had a dad who was a carpenter. Loved the guy. He was incredible inspiration for me. Great sense of humor, great builder, and a great leader. And so I learned a lot from him, and so it was wonderful to be with my dad until he retired, and then I bought an old farmhouse, and I got him to come over and work on the farmhouse every day. While I went to work. But we have a Heavenly Father who is working with us and has given us all these opportunities. And however we all got here is a story in itself. But we all came here through circumstances, and that ours is no different. Radio was only, for me, was only something that was in the car. But I married a beautiful woman that loves radio. Loves radio. She calls it her station. And sometimes I have to convince her to come home. And sometimes I realize, I know what you all go through, the hours and hours of working with equipment that's about to break and programming that doesn't work out right. And when we got married up in New York, Maureen and I met in Austria. I went over to work on the castle in Austria. And Maureen was working there as a volunteer for 3 years. And so I met her there, and I asked her to marry me after 9 days. I got no work done because I could smell her fragrance, her perfume, everywhere through the castle, and I was lost. Thankfully, I was gone, but I'm thankful for those memories, and thankfully there were other people that did do work and my crew that was with me, and so it worked out well. And finally, I convinced her to come back to upstate New York where I lived, and she worked at the radio station up there and taught school, and every weekend I would take her out and ask her to marry me. And after a year of taking her out and asking her to marry me, she finally said yes. And things improved from there. I really think that the blessings I have are only because I have a great wife, and she's been I don't know how I would have gotten through some of the things I've gotten through were for Maureen. Her gentle guidance, her to watch me and put up with me. It's been a blessing, and to watch what she does at work at the radio station. It's a challenge. You guys really have a lot to be thankful for and praying for each day when you're putting this stuff on the air. And I look at that and I think you guys are putting the door of Jesus in everybody's car and phone and radio. Their opportunity is because you took this opportunity to give them that chance. When they turn on that radio, you're opening the door to all the people that are out there. And many of them don't even know you're there. But by chance, you turn on the radio and they hear the word, and it changes them. For me, when I first got saved, one of the things I did is, when I wasn't at church night and day, anytime there was anything, I wanted to be there. And but when I couldn't, when there was nothing on maybe 1 or 2 nights a week, I turned on the radio. And we had just a terrible radio station for a long time up in Rochester, New York, where I grew up. It really was owned by a Jewish guy who put anything on the station that he could fill the airwaves with. But fortunately, he had a few good teachers. And I knew the hours and times they were on. And I would just sit in my car and listen and listen. And it was a blessing to me. So, radio had a big part in my life, even before I knew Maureen, because it was a lifeline to hear the word when I wasn't in church. And so it was, and when the Calvary chapels all started radio stations, and we had solid teaching 24/7 on many of them, it was like, wow, this is like the best. This is great. And so for me, I'm thankful for that. But in any case, God molded us and changed us, brought us through things. And without the Lord, I don't know, and without my wife, I don't know how I would have made it. I've watched one daughter take her own life. I'm watching another daughter who is addicted to drugs and is unwilling to change her life. And so my hope is in the Lord in these matters. And but something occurred to me the other day. We were coming home, the usual thing, get the mail. And I got a letter in the mail, just like you all get letters in the mail, and you've all gotten this, and it says that I was pre-approved for a credit card. Okay, and I thought, okay, and you get those about once a week, at least I do, and before you throw them in a shredder, it'll say you're qualified for a $10 or $20 or $1,000, no interest, low interest for the first 6 months or first maybe a couple of days. But in any case, I thought we all are pre-approved. We are born pre-approved, and all we have to do is say, "Yes, Lord, I want to accept that." Okay, and it's all and His signing His contract. It's no interest, no strings attached, unlimited salvation and eternity in heaven. It's a offer that I don't know how anybody could turn it down, but people do, and our job is to present the word to them through the airwaves, and hopefully somewhere along the way they say, "I'm ready." But God made us all pre-approved. Okay, He molded us, He shaped us, He knew us before we were born. And then he just stands and waits for us to say, please, I'm offering you a deal of a lifetime, And so I'm thankful that I took that offer. It's been a true life changer. If it weren't for salvation and accepting the Lord, I wouldn't have met all you. And I'm thankful for every one of you. And my wife and the people I've gotten to know, true believers, true lovers of the Lord, people that have, with all our flaws and all our little things that we do that are dumb, they love the Lord and they care about the Lord and they're willing to help you and share with you, and we have a common goal, and that is to someday be with the Lord, but in the meantime present the Lord to others along the way. And it's really fun to do that. I just don't know why people are so resistant. If they only knew what they were turning down. But I think a lot of people don't even think about the Lord at all. We go through the day, and I am sure every one of us have at least part of the time when we're not wrestling with computers and all that equipment that breaks and all things. We're thinking about the Lord and the people and getting the word out. And people go through lives with absolutely no thought for the Lord. And my pastor said something the other day, and I thought, he talked about the readiness of mind, and people have to have that readiness of mind. And the only way they'll even think about it is if by chance they hear it from us, and to consider it. And for me, I resisted it all these years. I was one of those guys that rode. I remember riding one day behind a van that said, I'm born again. And I thought, how stupid. What a dumb thing that is. And here I am. I don't have the bumper sticker. In fact, Maureen has these magnetic signs that we put on our cars advertising the radio station. And I haven't had some on my truck for a little while. I need to get new ones. But I find I drive a whole lot more reckless when I don't have those magnetic signs on the car. And so it keeps me in check. You don't know who's, you never know who's watching. And that's the other thing that we're doing, is people watch our walk. I know my unsafe family, however they feel about me, they know that I'm committed to the Lord. And they watch and they wait and they will hope that you fail. And for some odd reason, eventually, hopefully, they will change their minds. But we are living, walking examples of the Lord. We should never forget that we represent God, and we have an opportunity to change lives, probably greater than our pastors. As much as we love our pastors, they are here for a couple of nights a week, and they say the word. But we get to spread the word 24/7. We get to cover the airwaves in neighborhoods and houses that are beyond our reach, and people that we'll never know or meet. And it's just amazing to hear about people. Oh, I listen to your station, and it just. Sometimes you're shocked. You see somebody with, that just doesn't look like salvation material, and you go, wow, they actually are saved people. Now I'm guilty of judging people by the looks, but thankfully the Lord looks at our heart, and by Him doing that, He sees something we never will see, and I hope that as we change lives and hearts and reach people, that someday we'll meet the people that we reach through the radio. That I don't know if do you think people walk around heaven and say, "Yeah, I listened to WRDJ." I don't know, but maybe it's a possibility, but there'll be people there because of all of us, and I say us. I'm really the driver for Maureen. She's the radio expert. My contribution is getting her there, and once in a while she asks me my opinion, and she actually takes it, and so that's which is really frightening. But I'm blessed to do what I do, my carpentry work. I'm working for full-time for a ministry right now that hired me as an employee. I don't know if you all remember K-House Ministry, Koinonia Ministries. And they moved their offices to Merritt Island, or to Cocoa Beach, or Cocoa, I should say. And they bought a building, and it's a wreck of a building. And I'm literally going through room by room and wall by wall, and electric by electric, and plumbing by plumbing, and working on it. Ron Mattson, who is taken over for Chuck Missler, who passed away years ago, is a brilliant guy, and he's got a great crew of people, and they are churning out literature and Bible teachings, and they are just a fun, dedicated bunch of people. If you ever need any materials of that kind, I would encourage you to join them. But I'm just the Jewish carpenter working in the building, and by the way, yes, I'm Jewish blood, but I'm a born-again Christian, and I like bacon as much as anybody here. Okay. So I don't go in for all the diet things. Okay, I'm very happy to eat what I eat whenever I want to. Thank God. With that, I just want to say, encourage you all to continue to press on, and don't get your eyes off the Lord when something breaks or something doesn't work out right. The Lord knows it. He plans it. He allows it, and sometimes we wonder why. But there always is a purpose for God's plan. I've learned not to be. It's not that I don't get apprehensive at times, but for the most part, I've found that every time I reach a hurdle that I've gotten over, it gives me more encouragement to try something else or to do something else. And some of my friends think that I'm a little crazy, and I am, but I'm not afraid to try something new. A few years ago, Maureen and I decided to give up everything and move to Israel. And in that move, because of my Jewish heritage, I had every right to be a citizen there. And so I thought, okay, so we packed our bags, gave away or sold everything we had, and we moved to Israel. And it was the best experience Maureen and I ever had. Living in Israel, getting to know people. We have many friends over there, believers and non-believers, that we've gotten to know. And it was an experience that I'll never forget. Unfortunately, they found out I'm a Christian. And with that, they said no to my citizenship to Israel, which was a bummer for us, but God had a plan. Before they said no, our pastor Malcolm was in town giving a tour. And Maureen said, hey, she loved Malcolm. And she goes, let's go see Malcolm. Let's go see Malcolm. I said, okay. So we go to the hotel. And Malcolm comes over to Maureen and said, you know, John, who was running the radio station, is leaving. And he said, Maureen, he knows your skill, and he thinks that you're the only person that really can do the job. And so I'd like you to run the radio station. And I'm still trying to get to live in Israel. And I'm going, no, we're not going to Florida. It's the last place I want to live. Guess where I live? Florida. Flat, bugs, hurricanes. But I've come to love our church and the station, and Maureen accepted the job, and we moved there, spent every last time in Israel, and after just a short time, we were able to save and get a house, all miraculous. That means to me, I look around, I go, we have a house? How did that happen? But we're here, and we have great friends, and so I guess that's enough of my rambling. I just wanted to tell you that God has a plan and a purpose, and if you just stick around long enough, you'll see it. And don't give up when things don't go really well, because God's in it, and He's seen us through it. And now, if I can be so bold as to just say a last prayer, because Maureen and I are going to leave early. We love this conference. We look forward to it every year. And it's just been great. But a hurricane's coming from our neighborhood, and so I'm going to try and get home and batten down the hatches if I can. Hopefully I don't turn into the Wizard of Oz witch riding a bicycle through the wind. But we'll get there and see what we can do. So we're going to head out. But I love you guys all, because it's great memories and talking to all of you and hearing your stories of what you're doing and how you're changing lives. And it's been a wonderful time. So thank you all for your time. I'll take one last thing that's aside from all this. Just so you all know, our pastor Malcolm absolutely loves music. I think he's a musician before he was a pastor, and he just loves music. And he's been working for the past year on a new music CD. He's also going to offer it, I believe, online. And it's not complete yet, but it's getting close to completion. And the little bits we've heard have been really, really exciting, really good. And so when that comes available, we'd like to present it to all you radio stations, that maybe you could put it on the air. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's unique. It's old, some old music and some new, and the way they've developed it, and the little parts I've heard, I thought, wow, I don't think I've ever heard anything quite this way. And so he is so excited. I can't. You could just see him beam every time you talk about it. So we'll be in touch with all of you about getting that copy of that, either by email or some form. So praise you, God, for this time, for these people. I pray, Lord, that you will bless them, you will get them home safely, that you'll get Maureen and I home safely, and that we'll have a house a few days from now. And Jesus, I pray. Amen.